The Indian Army conducted surgical strikes last night at these launch pads. The operations were basically focused to ensure that these terrorists do not succeed in their design of infiltration and carrying out destruction and endangering the lives of citizens of our country. During these counter-terrorist operations, significant casualties have been caused to the terrorists and those who are trying to support them. The operations aimed at neutralizing the terrorists have since ceased. We do not have any plans for further continuation of the operations. However, the Indian Armed Forces are fully prepared for any contingency that may arise.
Are you watching Current Issues? My name is Vineet Malhotra. India today in the wee hours of the morning did what the nation was thirsting for ever since the Uri attacks. We attacked and destroyed about 7 terror camps that could have been used to inflict terror on our soldiers and our civilians. Pakistan, as usual, was in denial about these attacks and termed them as regular firing across the LOC. But why won't it deny? Because if they admit it happened there, is direct pressure on Pakistan to retaliate from within going to mount. What does this mean for the two countries? The process of isolating Pakistan from the international arena had already begun, and now India has flexed its muscles and shown the rogue neighbor that our patience cannot be mistaken for our weakness. Okay, let's take you through what exactly happened today in the wee hours of the early morning. We're going to graphically show you as to what transpired in the morning. The 38 terrorists who were killed were all found in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. The army actually managed to get inside, and of course the meeting regarding the MFN, which was to be chaired by the PM, gets postponed to next week, and surgical strike kills about 38 to 40 terrorists. There is a massive damage which has been caused to Pakistani assets. And of course, the Indian Army has confirmed that as well. Indian para-commandos attacked 7 terror launch pads in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, and Indian forces went at least 2 kilometers inside the line of control to punish these perpetrators. And PM Modi speaks to President, Vice President and former PM Manmohan Singh and appraises them about what transpired this morning. And the Home Minister also told all the CMs over the phone as to what India was planning to do. And John Kerry calls up the EAM. Sushma Swaraj and NSA United States, Susan Rice speaks to MEA officials. And public sentiment in India, of course, called for an action and not diplomatic tinkering. Indian government was trying peace for the past 2 years, but Pakistan was not relenting, and the government realized that the PM neither had an autonomy nor authority in his country. He takes a line similar to the deep state, which is the army and extremist groups in Pakistan. India finally exercises military option today. And of course, Pakistan is going to duck this escalation by positioning surgical strikes as LOC firing. Sources also say that Indian forces have evidence of mass casualties across the line of control. Okay, let us now delve into this debate and of course get our guests introduced. Let me start by welcoming Mr. Brigadier Samson Sharaf, who's a defense expert who's joining us from Pakistan. Mr. Anil Kaul, defense and strategic expert, will also be joining me. Mr. Jayband Singh, defense expert, is also with me in the studio. Vinod Sharma, senior journalist, is also part of our panel. Sir, thank you for joining us. And Mr. R.P. Singh, spokesperson for the BJP party, is going to be joining us as well. Mr. Sharma, coming to you directly, is this going to be a tipping point in the Indo-Pak narrative from now on, sir? Have things changed forever between these two countries?
Well, one shouldn't, come to these early conclusions. We'll have to wait and watch the situation as it develops. But certain points need to be noted from the briefing of our DGMO. You did not show that quote, but he also said that after the operation was over, the details were shared of the operation by our DGMO with the Pakistani DGMO. So there is a clear effort to distinguish this operation from being an attack on the army to actually being an attack on terrorists which were preparing to infiltrate into our side. It has happened on both sides of Pir Panjal insofar as my information goes. It happened on the Kashmir side and happened on the Jammu side. It was carried out on both sides on 7 different locations. And there obviously have been certain terrorists that have been taken out by our soldiers who went in. Now I think that there was both a military, strategic and a tactical requirement besides a political requirement on the part of the government to carry out an operation of this nature.
Okay.
Because Uri had really aroused popular sentiments in India.
Absolutely.
And there was a need for the government to address those sentiments.
Absolutely. People were thirsting for some sort of a retaliation. And Mr. Sharaf, who's joining us from Pakistan, he's a defense expert. Sir, your country is denying that there was ever a surgical strike in PoK. You have termed it as a regular firing across the LOC. So how certain are you of the information that you have?
Good evening, viewers in India. I'm very certain because I've been in the armed forces of Pakistan for over 3 decades. It was a firing across the line of control to which Pakistan retaliated, and there were casualties on both sides. It continued beyond dawn, and Pakistan has video coverage of some of the Indian posts that were destroyed, at least 3 of them. There was no physical incursion across the line of control.
Okay, well, you seem to be certain about it, but unless any proof is furnished, Mr. Singh, we cannot actually go by the rhetoric that, Indian forces did not cross the LOC and took out some of the terrorists. Mr. Singh.
You asking me?
Yes, sir.
Sir, we expect Pakistan to toe the line which they are toeing. I mean, you remember when we did this in Myanmar, Myanmar also towed the same line. But all has been video recorded with us also, and it's there been told that it was recorded to drone. But they can say what they have to say. But fact is that almost 38 terrorists have been killed across the line of control. And army went across almost 2.5 kilometers, 3 kilometers inside and destroyed them and came back. This is the truth. And now they can keep denying it. They have to stay in denial mode. That's their prerogative. They can do that. But the fact is that it has happened.
Okay, it has happened, Mr. Jaiban Singh. Pakistan has always denied some of the important events that India has accused of, be it, Pakistan proliferating terrorism and actually giving a lot of, importance to, the rogue and jihadi elements present in their country. And, a respected panelist from Pakistan feels that this was not a surgical strike, it was a regular LOC firing. How do you respond to that, sir?
I feel that it was a very professional approach of the Indian Army. And it was a change in the policy which circumstances have dictated. We have been doing counter-infiltration, and we have been doing it on the basis of the 2004 treaty between us that we will not cross the line of control. But Pakistan has not been relenting. Pakistan has been very provocative. And we have now taken a very conscious decision to cross over and strike the launch pads which are there in Pakistan occupied Kashmir. So as far as the army is concerned, I feel that this is a very professional decision which they have taken, and they have given a message to Pakistan that they will not only wait for the terrorists to come into India, they will strike the terrorists in their own land also. Of course, what the sentiments are there and what the media is saying is also part of the whole thing, but you have to see it more on the professional side, and we have been very righteous in our approach in having informed the DGMO that, look, we are not striking your military establishments, we are striking those terrorists whom you have prepared to come into India.
Okay. Mr. Kaul, coming to you, our respected panelist from Pakistan feels that this was not a surgical strike, but, Mr. Sharaf, if you're listening, right after the event, your Prime Minister tweeted that if there was an attack of such a nature, he condemns it. In fact, he did not even use the word if. He said this attack has to be condemned. And a few hours later, some of your officers denied that this attack actually took place. There seems to be some paradox that exists between the information that the Pakistani intelligence is actually conveying to the higher authorities. Mr. Kaul, what do you feel about this denial, sir?
First of all, let me correct you. I am not a Mr. Kaul, I am a Colonel Kaul.
Sorry, sir. Colonel Kaul, go ahead,
Number
sir.
two, as far as what I feel is that they have landed themselves in a catch-22 situation. If they say that this was a lie and this never happened, then there is no need for escalation, there is no need for retaliation. There is no need for any reason for them to start crying foul. If they say yes, it happened, then it's a slap on their faces, which is going to be worse diplomatically than anything else they have suffered. So they've landed themselves in their own diplomatic catch-22, which they don't know how to get out of. The Mr. Rahil Sharif, I'm not calling him General Rahil Sharif, Mr. Rahil Sharif is saying something else, the DGMO is saying something else, the ISI chief is saying something else, and the Prime Minister is saying a fourth thing. Now let them get their act together, because we are sure what we did. They are not even sure whether somebody came across or not. What happened? Because number one, they were not prepared for a response. They thought that every time it is going to be the same old story and we are going to produce some dossier and show it to them and they'll throw it in the dustbin.
Mr. Sharma, coming to you, this is probably the first time that such an operation has been made public, and everyone feels that such operations did happen in the past, but the government chose not to make it public. Now that this episode or this action and this muscular display of India's defense has been made public, how is the rhetoric going to change between India and Pakistan? Internationally, we have been working on isolating them, ostracizing them. The SAARC summit is also probably going to be a big flop for Pakistan. What kind of a pressure are we expecting in Pakistan, and what is going to be the response to all this pressure that is mounting?
You see, please look at the statements very carefully of the DGMO of our side and the statements of the Pakistan Army. If the Pakistan Army is saying certain things, a kind of a cushion has been provided to them by our side as well, by distinguishing this as a counter-terror operation as opposed to an operation against their army, their military. So this is not an attack on the military. This has been said on record by Rajyavardhan Rathore, and this has been very evident from the statement of our DGMO. This is point number one. Insofar as rhetoric is concerned, you see, the government's first objective was to address the rhetoric, the popular outrage within India, and the rhetoric, and whether there is an escalation of rhetoric or not, it is of little concern to India at the current juncture, so long as it doesn't escalate into any military conflict, and enough safeguards have been taken against that through the formulations that have been shared by the DGMO with the media here. They have clearly said that these were launch pads where terrorists were planning, and some of their trainers and guides were there, and we have taken them out. They have said this is not an attack, and they've shared the information with the DGMO. It is indeed true that these kind of raids, targeted raids across the LOC have been undertaken in the past, but they have never been claimed by our army. There was a reason behind it, but this time the government has gone public because the government was keen to address popular sentiment at home, short of waging a full-scale war with Pakistan, and that is what exactly they have done.
Okay, Brigadier Sharaf from Pakistan, coming to you, sir. Sir, another theory is that you will probably not admit to these attacks because if you do admit that there was such a surgical strike, it would actually expose the ineptitude of the intelligence that exists in Pakistan today, and the pressure on Pakistan to retaliate against India is going to be enormous. And Pakistan probably cannot even afford to get into a full-fledged war with India because it doesn't have the resources.
First of all, let me continue from where I left. It must have been a very awkward moment for the Indian DGMO to be calling the Pakistani DGMO and informing and apprising him that indeed India has carried out surgical strikes deep inside Pakistani territory. It must have been a very, very awkward moment because these strikes did not take place. This is the first thing. The second thing is Pakistan has already retaliated. As the LOC violations commenced, Pakistan also replied in similar fashion, and they targeted Indian posts, they targeted Indian gun positions, and there must have been casualties on both sides because of this cross-border firing. So the retaliation by Pakistan has already taken place. Third, saying that similar raids were carried out by Indians in the past. If you recollect, maybe 3 to 4 years ago, there was a story regarding beheading and something. So an odd Pakistani post, an observation post where the Indians had managed to get, they had indeed taken out a soldier and then slain him and taken his head away, something on which a lot of discussions were had. Were also carried out on the talk shows in India as well as in some parts of Pakistan. So as far as this phase of escalation is concerned, it is over. Indian DGMO himself has declared that they are not going to be any further escalations as far as tit for tat is concerned, because
Brigadier
India had
Sharaf, are you actually saying, are you actually implying, sir, you know, that whatever the DGMO said was a complete fabrication? And none of it is true. Isn't that too far-fetched? You know, a theory that you have, sir? Why would anybody cook up such a story?
It is certainly a fabrication, and it is an effort at controlling escalation, the escalation ladder, the conflict control.
And Mr. Jaiban Singh, I want you to come in on this.
It is certainly a fabrication.
How ludicrous is this that, you know, this entire episode turns out to be a fabrication? This is the way Pakistan dismisses the seriousness of, you know, the terrorism that exists. There are 28 terror camps in Pakistan occupied Kashmir, sir. And you yourself are inflicted by these terror camps as well.
I can name 60 terrorist
It is a fool's paradise, sir.
Across Pakistan's international border, which are being operated by India.
Whether they feel
So,
that this is right or it is not right, but the fact is that we have
these
gone
people have got
into
a
Pakistan
habit
territory to strike the terrorist launch pads and give a very clear message to them that we have now changed our narrative and our strategy, and henceforth we will be attacking them and their terrorists on their own soil. And it is very good on the part of the government that it has taken this proactive stand, because the Indian Army was always very capable of doing something like this, but there was this political will which was not there, and now the political will is there. So we will not only use the LOC, the fencing as a tripwire to control counter-infiltration, we will become proactive, we will go in for offensive defense, and we are going to strike them in their own territory. And this is just 4 or 5 raids. We have got so many other options of striking them. We will strike them with missiles. We will strike them with artillery. We will strike them with aircraft. So it is just going to keep going on and on till such time that they don't start seeing reason.
Let me get a reaction from Colonel Kaul. Colonel Kaul, you know, from exercising strategic restraint, we have you know, shown some offensive defense, and Pakistan continues to deny that there was ever anything like this that happened. It is a complete fabrication. I find this idea, in fact, this theory, to be absolutely ludicrous, sir.
In my opinion, the first thing is that we did not go into Pakistani territory. This territory belongs to us.
Absolutely.
This is part of Jammu and Kashmir. It is part of Jammu and Kashmir. They are sitting on our territory. So they better get out of there. And this is an indication that if you don't get out, we'll kick you out. I mean, let's get this very clear. They may be ludicrous, they may be ridiculous, they may say nothing happened. But when they go themselves and see, because I am certain that the operation which were launched last night would have been covered by camera, and there would be enough video links and video coverage to show what damage was done. And this cannot be all fabricated. And I must say, we have maintained our moral high ground to make sure there is no collateral damage. No civilians have been hurt. No civilian property has been damaged.
Okay,
No,
let me please also get a
when they
reaction.
profess
Let me also get a
that
reaction
they-
from Mr.
no, no.
RP Singh. He hasn't spoken in some time. Mr. RP Singh, the Pakistani gentleman on our show, Brigadier Samsam Sharaf, is saying this is a complete fabrication. Nothing of this sort ever existed. How badly is Pakistan exposing itself by following this narrative? First, they were not aware whether Osama bin Laden was in Abbottabad. Then they could not actually master as to how the Americans got there and killed him and took off and left a chopper behind. And today, when the Indian commandos go inside PoK, conduct an operation, Pakistan again is in a denial mode. This seems to be some sort of a political inertia, which is setting in Pakistani intellectuals, sir.
I doubt Brigadier Sampson is a Pakistani intellectual. I mean, he is just towing the army line. He is just towing the line which has been given by ISA or General Sharif. I mean, he's not doing any intellectual line. Had he been intellectual, he'd been more cautious what he was saying. But point aside, I'm telling you today, last time when I came on the debate, almost a week back,
You've not
Sir,
read my
Brigadier
11
Saab,
articles
Brigadier
in the
Saab, Brigadier
international
Sampson, allow me to
journals,
complete and you'll,
and you have
after
not
that
read
you
my
won't speak.
treatise.
I mean, let me
I'm so sorry for
complete
your
and after that you
ignorance.
won't speak.
If you don't know about
Okay, let
me,
me
you are
complete.
such an
Brigadier
ignorant
Saab,
person.
Brigadier Sampson, Brigadier Sampson, please allow me to complete. Brigadier Sampson, please. You were saying I never uttered a word.
I wish you had.
Last time when I was on your debate here, I said, wait for the
before
time, we'll
saying
do
this
the
to save
surgical
yourself
strike,
the embarrassment.
we'll do the operation. You remember I said so? But I'm saying, I'm saying on record. Call Brigadier Sampson after a fortnight. And sure, by that, I'm so sorry.
I'll take on from here. What I want to say is that if that strike has not
we will
taken
show them
place,
that- we will show
then
them
why
the evidence.
is America
We will show them
so
the
serious
evidence.
about it, and why are they talking to us in this manner? Why is John Kerry talking to us? Why is there interaction?
Well, they're going to
with
deny
him?
this as well.
So obviously
You will
they know
actually
that
have to
strike
show
has
them the call
happened.
records for them to believe you.
Yeah, the strike has happened. They know it because they would have
No,
satellite
we don't need to-
imagery of the strike taking
it's just
place.
matter of time, sir,
And through
in
this,
today's world.
through this channel, I would like to tell Brigadier Sampson to tell his masters over there and his political leaders and General Raheel Sharif that this is just the beginning. It's going to happen many more times in future because now the policy as far as India is concerned is changed. Instead of taking on the terrorists in our own this side of the line of control, we are going to take them on in our territory on the other side of the line of control and the LC fencing.
Okay, let me go across to Colonel Call. He wanted to come in.
Vineet, I will make another
Okay.
small point to make.
Okay, Mr. RP Singh. Mr. RP Singh,
That whenever
sir,
he does
so over to you, Mr. RP Singh.
Vineet, I'm little upset with you also that you are trying to undermine this complete operation by saying this has happened earlier. But don't undermine this. This is the first time army has done such operation. And you trying to undermine it. Don't do that. I mean, this matter of pride for complete
No, sir,
country. that army has done such operation,
I am not
and
undermining
has
it, sir.
gone
I am
public.
just
Please,
simply
sir, Vineet,
conveying
I'm so
a
sorry.
Pakistani sentiment to
you
you.
are undermining. You and Vinod both put together undermining it.
Just
It is very
because you
sad.
say so
I mean,
and
channel
your
like you do
DGMO
that is very
says so,
sad
I
today,
am not
and that too
supposed to-
today
I
when
will not
army has
believe
done
it.
such a good operation, surgical operation gone across the board.
We are in
And
touch
then,
with
and your
people
defense
all
expert
over,
Japan Singh right
all
now
over
said
Azad
first time it has
Kashmir.
happened.
We have talked to
Do you
people
have more
and
knowledge than
they
defense
have all
expert?
confirmed no such operation has taken place. It is just fiction. And you will produce
Brigadier
the
Mr. RP Singh, me and Mr. Sharma, we are not, Mr. RP Singh, me and Mr. Vinod Sharma, we are not undermining, Mr. RP Singh, me and Mr. Vinod Sharma are not undermining this operation. We are glad it happened. We are glad it happened, sir. We are just trying to convey the feeling, the narrative that exists, the reactions that are coming in from Pakistan,
not.
the
You are
kind
not.
of
I'm
denial
telling
they
you,
live
you are
in.
not. You are
And
trying to
I will
underplay
let
You're
Mr.
trying to
Sharma
underplay.
also come in now. So we are in no way undermining this effort. We appreciate what happened. We are proud of what happened, and of course, we are glad it
Did he
happened.
listen to me? Did Mr. RP Singh listen to me? He arrived late. What did he hear me saying? That which was undermining the Indian Army position. Would you like to elucidate? RP Singh, बताइए हमने क्या किया कहा
I think we are digressing from the
position undermine हुई है.
I suppose we should not get
Batao na
into
yaar.
this debate
Okay.
of
Mr. RP Singh, we are
between,
not-
Mr. RP Singh and Mr. Sharma. I am sure both of them and everybody is very proud of the army. I would just like to say this much, that this is a professional approach and it's going to happen all the time, because there is a change in the Indian Army has got the capability of going from east to west through Pakistan. And
Sir, if I
I
can
mean, it's
comment
fine
for
that we have
just
gone
30
these 3
seconds.
kilometers, but it's not something which the Indian Army is not trained to do. This kind of an operation we are trained to do when we are in the Indian Military Academy. So it is just that the political will has now come out, and there is a change in strategy, and we are going to do it more often. So that is the manner, that is the professional manner in which we should be looking at the whole thing. We have changed our strategy, and we are going to strike them where it hurts most. We are not breaking any kind of a treaty with Pakistan. We are striking their terrorists. We are striking their mercenaries whom they are sending to us, and we are, by so doing, we are protecting ourselves. It is offensive defense.
Absolutely, and we are exposing, you know, the dual standards that exist in Pakistan, the way they approach a particular operation and how they react. It's become very, very predictable, and in no way me or any of the panelists have undermined this operation. We are proud of what happened. We were expecting what would happen, and we are glad it happened. And on this note, I'd like to end the show and thank all the panelists for being here from all over the country, and of course from Pakistan also. Mr. Sharaf, thank you for joining us. That's all we have on current issues. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.